Hi, and welcome to the Retirement Concepts podcast where we discuss both lifestyle and financial issues in retirement to help you understand them.
And welcome back to the Retirement Concepts podcast. I'm Lionel, financial planner for Purpose Planning, and I'm joined by my co-host, Peter Graham from Redefining Retirement. Peter, we meet again.
Yeah, it's good.
How good's this been so far?
It's been excellent, and I'm pleased with the benefits that people are achieving from watching these. It's been good.
Yeah, I hope people have been enjoying it. We've had some feedback from the podcast. A lot of people have been really encouraging about it because the podcast these days on the financial podcast is all about finance and this and finance that and finance this. But our attack with this little book of retirement concepts is more about, finances is really important and it gives you flexibility, but it's not the only important piece in retirement. The lifestyle issues are really important. Now, the lifestyle issues, Pete, there's a couple of financial is one piece, but the lifestyle issues cover so many different areas. And it's pretty important to get that right at the start of your retirement. And that's what we want to talk about this year, in this podcast, is the early retirement years. And we call it's your go-go years. You're going to go here, you're going to go there, you want to go everywhere. So Pete, lead us out with the go-go years. What's this time of phase in retirement mean for you and also for the people that you've worked with?
Well, the concept of the go-go years means that these are the times you're going to have in your life. They could be 1 year, 15 years, or even 20 years, where you do things and you're on the go and you're achieving things and traveling and visiting and doing exciting things. And it's different for everyone. Generally speaking, we would say 10 years approximately for most people at 65, but not everyone. For example, I'm still in the go-go years and I'm 80. So some people, it's different. And I would plan, if I was you, to extend your go-go years for as long as possible, to really go for it in a big way. And these are the times when you can sit down and you can plan to travel. But it gets more difficult as you get older. And broadly speaking, this is nothing specific, but broadly speaking, around 75, it becomes more difficult to travel for most people, because that's when the hips start to go and the knees start to go and people that got one of the partners is not well and so on and so forth. So get the travel out of the way as quickly as possible and do as much as you possibly can and do those real exciting and challenging things while you're younger, but later on you will not be able to do it. You just can't do it. And so the go-go years is the time when you could really extend yourself and really have an absolutely fabulous time in your retirement. And it's the time when you can travel with your friends, you can travel with your family, you can go and visit people overseas, stay in their house, you can have a house swap with people overseas. There's so many different things you can do and really have a most enjoyable time.
Yeah, don't limit yourself to what you can do in the go-go years, because you've been working sometimes 30, 40 and sometimes 50 years, if leading up to retirement. So the go-go years are the time to go out and enjoy yourself, go and enjoy yourself and go and travel to the places that you wanted to go and travel that take your interest anywhere around the world. We've got a number of our clients at the moment, which is actually a really nice piece when it comes through. I've got a number of people that travel around the world, traveling around, and they send you the happy snaps. The happy snaps of them at the Swiss Alps, or they're in Italy or in Venice, or they're in Norway. They've gone to Norway this year, or they're in Canada, or they're in America. They're all over the place. And the reasons why they're sending those happy snaps is because they've been pretty much put into a position where they can actually go and do that, and made clear that they can actually go and do it. We give them a bit more certainty that we encourage you to go and spend your money in your go-go years. The go-go years is when you're going to spend the most amount of money. And it ranges from different people, Pete.
All different. And there are so many things you can do. For example, I remember my wife and I travelled a lot before retirement years. We've travelled quite a bit after that. And we decided we'd do something really, really exciting. We went to the travel agent and said, we've travelled a lot. Where we've been to. We'd like to go somewhere totally different. And we don't want you to tell us where it is. So this travel agent arranged the tickets and just said, here's the letter. You're not allowed to open this until you get to a certain place. So off we went. And we arrived over in Europe, and we were in Copenhagen. And it was the day that we had to open the letter. And that's when we found out where we were going. And to our absolute amazement, we were going to a place called the Faroe Islands. And the Faroe Islands are in the Atlantic Ocean, right in the middle. So you can imagine Belgium, you go all the way across to Iceland. If you imagine Scotland down here, travel northwest, and there's a little set of islands. It's called the Faroe Islands. It's about 6 or 7 islands there, and it's a fabulously wealthy place, mainly from the fishing villages and the like. And here we are arriving in Faroe Islands, and there was a taxi waiting for us, and the taxi drove us around for 2.5 days to places that we would never have gone to if we'd done it. We went to visit all his friends. We went to go to all the good restaurants, the good clubs, the shows that were on, whatever it case. He even took us to the school for his grandchildren to have a look at the education system over there and the like. Like, it absolutely blew our mind. And we left there, and now we have this lovely memory of having been to the Faroe Islands. So that's what I mean. Do something that's really different and really exciting. Just don't go slow on these things. Really go for it in a big way, and you'll be surprised at how much fun you can have. Nothing silly, of course, but you can really have a good time.
Well, make sure if it's silly and enjoy it, not too silly, but...
Yeah, and I do things that my wife doesn't want me to do, and she does things I don't think I want to do either.
Yeah.
I understand that. But get out there and really do some really exciting things. That's important once you've hit this retirement go years.
The go years, yeah. So while you've got your energy, the mobility, memories. So yeah, that's one of the important pieces to think about there. But what about Pete? Talk about having a bucket list. How would you give examples for either a couple or an individual to talk about a bucket list and talk about that?
I will in a minute.
A little in a minute.
Well, I'll just fill in one other thing.
Okay.
Think about travel. There are so many different types of travelers. Now, typically we know the tourist. They're the person who flies with a well-structured, on a well-structured trip to Fiji or to Hong Kong or China or Japan or India. It doesn't matter. They're tourists. They go to see what they know they're going to see. They rarely see anything different. Whereas a traveller goes and sees things that they don't expect to see. An adventurer goes and does really exciting things. You can go on a history tour. You can go on a religious tour. You can do a whole lot of different types of travelling, and that's really important. But getting back to the bucket list, well, it all started for me, and I've known about bucket lists for years, of course, as many people have. But there's a movie out called The Bucket List, and it's a fantastic movie to watch, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Watch it if you can, except for one thing. It was a story about two people, and these two people are well-known actors, so I'm not going to tell you anything about that, but they're in hospital, and they're both told they've got a limited time to live. So they hatched a plan to escape the hospital and go on all the trips of it, called the bucket list, all the things that they wanted to do. Now, I don't expect anyone to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. Do it before that. And so develop up your bucket list. What are the 20 things you want to do maybe with travel, or the 20 things you want to do with education, or the 10 you want to do with the family, or whatever the case may be? Start off with a broad bucket list. What are the things you would really like to do over the next 10 years, for example? And it could be going to a concert. It could be going to the snowy mountains or a place you haven't been to. Doesn't matter what it is. That's not the point. The point about it is you've got a list, and over a period of time you can cross those things off. And if you keep the list in a prominent place, like on the fridge door, you can start bringing things to the top that you're going to do. And so it might be staying in the Blue Mountains at a special hotel for 2 nights or 3 nights. Just do it and go all out and have a wonderful time. But the bucket list can be anything that grabs you, that will make you, and if you've got a partner, your partner, happy. Make certain that it's something that really makes you spin and makes you go and have a fabulous time. And over the years, that's what I've done. I thoroughly enjoy having these challenges and things that I'm going to do and exciting things. And we love doing it. So think about a bucket list. I've written about the bucket list in the little book of retirement concepts. Have a look at that page and get some ideas as to what you can do with your bucket list.
Yeah, it makes you look forward to doing things and ticking off the list. It's the big thing with the bucket list, and you're actually going to get a lot of fulfillment out of doing that as well. And then make sure you either capture some of the experiences as well and send it to your financial planner so I can see what you've been up to.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and we travel a bit, but I always like my wife to get involved in arranging the accommodation. She loves doing it, I might add, but we really get into some amazing places to stay. They're not helplessly expensive or anything like that. I'm just saying they're well thought out B&Bs or Airbnbs or whatever the case may be, and you can go to these things and have an extraordinary time. But not only that, you can actually meet the people who own the property. And they usually are very, very pleasant and can help you understand the district and the history of the place and what else is around and all the rest of it. An example, we're in New Zealand and we ended up in a place, terrible place to get to. We arrived at this house and there they were waiting for us. And so they welcomed us and come in and sit down and chat. We were there to have a rest. They decided it'd be a good idea to talk and have something to eat, light, and then go. We went out to dinner after that. And so this night of having an early night because we'd had a big day, that finished about 11 o'clock because they wanted to talk. And they were absolutely fascinating people. I was sitting on the veranda with the chap the next morning and I said, it's an amazing block of land you've got over there. You've got farmland to here and then there's this. Oh, he said, that used to be my land and I donated that to charity. And I said, oh yeah, what did you do with that? And he said, well, that's where we raise kiwis. And so the kiwi bird could be in extinction, going towards extinction, except that he decided that he would create a compound where they would breed Kiwi birds and then take them back out into the wild when they were big enough to defend themselves. Because one of the things that happens is the Kiwi bird, the mother, doesn't protect the babies. And so the predators come in and they don't worry about the mother, they take the baby. And so this is a protected area. Now, we had a fantastic, I didn't want to leave. It was so interesting talking to this chap. And what we've noticed over the years that most people have had fabulous experiences. And what we have to do as tourists and travellers is to encourage them to talk. And if you do that, your life memories will be expanded and you'll have a fabulous holiday. So that's a good example of working on a bucket list item and going to a place and opening up in the conversations.
And the bucket list as well. It's a good idea as well that both husband and wife, are actually going to have their own bucket list themselves and coming together to compromise on what you both want to do. So, that's a good idea to do that. But it's like opening up a Pandora box with someone like that, because once you start getting them talking, they're going to open up the experience and make the whole experience so much more rich for you when you're actually living it at that point in time. So don't be shy. Usually as Australians, we don't mind having a chin whack. Pete, you're pretty good at it.
Well, I love doing really different things, and it's just so exciting. Mind you, I've got myself into a lot of difficulty over the years in doing it, but I'm still here, and that's the point, that you can do some absolutely amazing things if you take a few minor risks and have a go. And these things will just emerge. They really are fabulous. So get your bucket list going, get some crazy ideas in there, and then do them. If you want any help, call me. I'm happy to help you out. Lionel's got some ideas as well, and we can help you out if you've got any queries on those things.
Yeah, so the Go-Go years is more about getting out there and doing and making doing the experiences and making some really good memories. And don't be afraid to spend some money along the way as well, because everything costs a lot of money these days. So that's what you've been working for all this time, is to create your wealth for retirement. We talk about putting a lot of money into super and all that sort of stuff. Usually this time of life is when you're between sort of like your late 50s and your early 60s. So we've created all this money all this time. We've been putting it away. Make sure you go out and spend it wisely and enjoy it and reap the rewards for those experiences. And that's what we talk about in the previous episode. We talked about a book called Dive of Zero. These are all memory dividends that you're actually going to be thinking about after that experience has been created. They're all memory dividends that you've actually spent the money to go and do. And the memory is great. But then when you think back on it and you think about that great time that you had, that's what we call a memory dividend. It's just like CBA shares. Paying you a share, you've got $100,000 or whatever the amount of money invested in CBA shares. Every twice a year or whatever it is, they pay dividends to you. It's an income component. But when you're making these experiences and you're thinking back on it, if it's on a regular basis, you're actually making a memory dividend. So,
give you an example of that.
Yeah.
We got an email the other day from our taxi driver in the Faroe Islands, congratulating us on being Australian and having such a fabulous result in the Olympic Games. Now, that email immediately brought about discussions on what a great guy is and remember going there and what about that and all. It was fabulous, absolutely fabulous, that one little email can change your day completely.
Oh.
So these memory dividends, that's a good example of a memory dividend. Yeah, good. Yeah.
So, well, I think hopefully everyone's got a little bit more information out of that one. When you're thinking about your go-go years, don't be tight. Go out and spend, but plan your spending as well. Do your research is a good way to do it as well. And make sure you're making those memory dividends with those experiences, because you do not want to end up at the later years of your retirement with a truckload of cash with, we call it unspent capital, when you could have actually gone out and done something. Don't hold back when you have the cash to go and do it.
That's right. Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoyed that podcast.
Yeah, thanks very much, and look forward to catching up next time. Thanks very much.
Bye for now.
Yeah, so long.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Retirement Concepts podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to let people know by sharing the episode around, rating and reviewing the podcast on the platform you listen on. Also, if you need some guidance on preparing for retirement, please head over to our website lbrc.au to grab a copy of our little book of retirement concepts that brings you closer to having a fabulous retirement. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.